Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. If you're new here, I'm ByteBuilds, and today we're diving into something super exciting. Building a budget PC and then flipping it for profit. So I know what you're thinking, a budget PC can't be that cheap and so good at the same time, right? Well no, I'll prove you wrong. This PC can crush 1080p gaming, and can even go into a bit of 1440p with a GPU upgrade, while staying under $200 AUD. So here's the specs of the beast. For our CPU, we have an i7-3770 with a monster ASUS Sabertooth Z77 motherboard. This beastly combo is paired with 16GB of DDR3 RAM from Giel, which is enough to satisfy even the hungriest Chrome tabs the gamer opens. For our GPU, we have the Sapphire VaporX Tri-Fan R9 280X with 3GB of VRAM. Now 3GB of VRAM is a little low for this build, but will be enough to play games well. We've got 240GB of SSD storage and 500GB of game storage on our hard drive, which is enough for the casual gamer. Finally, we'll be building this beast in a beautiful Cooler Master Masterbox MB520. The thing I'm going to be building with today, and fun fact, this thermal paste here, I actually got for $5 with a deal. That is nice. Alright, without further ado, I hope you enjoyed the build. Starting with the RAM first, got 16GB of DDR3 from Giel. Well, I'm going to be slotting them in on slots 1 and 3. You might be asking me, sir, why aren't you slotting it in on slots 2 and 4? Well, when I slot it in on 4, the DRAM light actually lights up and doesn't boot. That is a problem. I did contact the seller, and they didn't really get me a refund. But I guess $40 is $40, it'll still work fine.
What?
Alright, next is our CPU. We've got our i7 over here. We're gonna put it in our socket really gently. Alright, we'll line that up. Put that in. Wiggle it a bit. And lock it in, sir. Alright, that is done. Now we're gonna put some thermal paste and put the stock cooler on. Thermal paste, we got this. Only $5. We'll put it on. Let's go. Pretty controversial, but I'm just gonna put the thermal paste right on there like that. Nice and easy. And that should be enough. Alright, now cooler, we'll just mount it on. I'll just check all these. And then for prepping, we'll just put that on there. Hope these line up. I guess they do. Now we'll just press down until you hear it click. Now that I'm done with my motherboard, I want to move it into the case. Here's the IO shield, and you always got to remember the jacks are over here, and that face the bottom. So we'll move that in and slot it in. Now you should press on the corners until you hear it clicks. Just like that. Now the IO shield is in. Alright, now let's move the motherboard in. We'll just steady. And we'll just put it in like that. Be sure to not hit any other cables like I did, and just move them out of the way. Here. Now, time to screw it in. Motherboard has been screwed in and it doesn't rattle around. Now I want to focus on the front IO. On these more higher end motherboards, they actually come with this. This here is really helpful because you can do your front IO outside of the case with this, and now you don't actually have to get your crusty little fingers into that one corner that you can't reach. Here, once you put it in, you can just easily slot that in like so with one clip. I want to get the USB 3.0 connector into the 90-degree port right there. So here, easily you face the notch up into the hole. That is complete, and we can complete that by just putting the cable back in a bit. Now we've got our speaker and these other little wires that we have to cable manage. Now let's get our 24-pin connector into the port like so. Easy, and once it clips in, you know it's ready. Now let's get our 8-pin CPU extensions on. 8-pin CPU connector extensions are really easy. Just put it in and then get the other end and thread it up into the other side. Now that the cable's over here, get the cable and the side of the clip, face it up backwards and thread it into the hole like so until you hear a click and it doesn't come out. Now we'll get the cable combs and organize this cable a bit. We are going to install a GPU. Here, we'll just take this slot off, and then our GPU, we go and put that in like so, then push it down until you hear a little click, and then check if that's up. If that is, you're good to go. Now, time to screw the screw in. So your screw will go from here, and then you'll just use any screwdriver that's Phillips head and screw it in. Like so. Now, GPU will not come out. The board doesn't actually have Wi-Fi. We've got this PCIe card from TP-Link that will allow this PC to access Wi-Fi. So we'll just find the slot here, then we'll just slot it in like so, push it in. Now we'll screw that in. Almost forgot, let's get these drives installed. First, we've got our hard disk. We're gonna put that in here with 2 screws. Let's go. Alright, now we've got our drive mounted onto this tray. Now we're gonna be slotting it in right there. Run into a bit of a problem. This PCIe connector here actually has this one little bit that's extruding from it. If you look at these cable extensions, you can't actually have that extrusion because otherwise that will interfere with the connector. And you can't really plug these in right now. So now I have to use sanding paper to sand that down. Correction guys, the connector was not the problem, and I completely missed the small hole for the extruding bit on the connector. I found the actual problem, as you'll see in the video later. Turns out it wasn't the connectors themselves, but like the actual stuff inside. Well, I guess we solved that problem. Now, let's get to cable managing. PC is almost done and is almost ready for its first boot. I think this PC looks sick, especially because of the motherboard and the cable extensions. The black 24 pin really made it look amazing. One thing that I would change about this is probably spray painting the RAM and maybe also changing the cooler. But anyways, I think we're almost ready to boot into Windows. So before installing, I actually made a USB installer beforehand. The USB installer actually had Windows 10 on it, but the installation format was not right. So I actually had to make a new USB using Rufus. So here we have Rufus open, we have our USB selected, and now we're going to drag our Windows ISO onto Rufus. So now we're going to select our partition style, and because this is an older motherboard, we're going to go with Legacy. Now we're going to rename our USB to Windows. Now, the process of creating it will take a long time, so I sped this up for you, but it takes around 5 minutes in total. So here we're just going to configure this and then just click create and erase everything, and now the process starts. So now Rufus is about to finish up, and there we go. Now we can eject our drive and we can start installing Windows onto our computer. So Windows just didn't want to install and there was so many errors, but here's the explanation on what happened and how I solved it. Windows didn't actually work before and kept on displaying an error, but after disconnecting the secondary 500GB hard drive, it actually worked. So now we're installing the Windows installer and hopefully it installs without any trouble. Guys, we're in Windows. Now it's time to take some pictures and list it on Facebook Marketplace. And that's it for this budget PC build and flip. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more. Drop any questions or thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.